How's it going, everybody? So in this video, we're going to be talking about how you can definitely stay warm during the winter time, even without wearing a jacket outside, okay? So first of all, I've been putting these principles into practice for over a decade now, and it always amuses me how everyone else, when it gets down to like 40 or 50 degrees here where I live, they're breaking out the Eskimo clothes and they're like wearing all these heavy jackets, and I don't even feel the coldness. Like I walk outside wearing flip-flops, short shorts, and it doesn't affect me at all, like legitimately. But everyone else, it seems to affect pretty dramatically to where they're like hyperventilating, and it's just crazy. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some really effective principles for how to overcome it that definitely work if you practice them strictly and vigorously over time. Okay, so we're going to go over the most powerful lifestyle practices first and exercises, and then we're going to go over the herbs that you can be taking and nutrition practices, and then we'll be discussing vitamin deficiencies and certain disease states that people can have that can make them colder than the average person. Okay, so first of all, we need to understand adaptive thermogenesis and how thermoregulation and basically hormetic stressors, basically the body adapts to whatever environmental stressors it is placed upon it consistently over time. And so for people who want to adapt themselves to cold weather, the best thing you can do is all throughout the year do very frequent ice baths, super cold showers, and hot-cold hydrotherapy. This was probably the most important thing for me personally, and so if you can think about, like people in Russia, for example, they're known for doing naked snow angels and stuff like that, and there's a stereotype associated with Russia now where everyone thinks they're just like super tough and they're born that way. But the fact is, if you live in a cold environment all your life and you're not just like forcing yourself to be a cave hermit and always have the heater on, you adapt to it over time. The body has to. It's basically evolved to be that way over millions of years, and your genetics don't really play a major role in that either. All humans are able to survive through cold weather if they give themselves enough time enduring the cold to where their body can adapt. This most likely is true due to surviving the Ice Age for a couple million years, actually. And so adaptive thermoregulation. So yeah, ice baths. The more often you expose your body to cold exposure, the more your body will adapt to being able to deal with the cold. And this is number one: cold showers, cold pools, cold plunges. And then whenever it snows in your environment or it gets cold, go out there and do, 15, 20 seconds in the snow with just your underwear on, and then come back inside the house and just keep doing rotations, kind of like as if you were doing a strength training exercise or something. Your body will adapt over time. Okay, that's the first thing. That's the most important thing. The same thing goes for if you're trying to adapt your body to hot weather. Doing saunas and hot baths and stuff like that over time will adapt your body to be able to sustain hotter environments for longer. Okay, so yeah, that's number one. The Wim Hof method and all that crap. And speaking of which, the second thing is practicing deep breathing techniques. So one thing that you need to understand is if you focus on breathing mostly through your nose and breathing extremely slowly, and I'm talking the inhaled breath needs to be 20 to 40 seconds in length, and then hold it for 10 to 20 seconds. And then the exhaled breath, 20 to 40 seconds in length. Slowing your breathing and only breathing in and out through your nose can actually, believe it or not, improve your circulation to the point where the cold weather does not cause you to shiver and affect you as bad. This is something that I typically will do is I'll just start to focus on controlling my breathing. And instead of allowing my body to start shivering and going crazy and shaking, I start to focus on on breathing only through my nose and having nice, controlled, powerful breaths, okay? And if you focus on the out breath, especially having a powerful out breath, you can actually start to improve the heat, your body's heat exertion, I guess you can call it, to where you sort of actually feel your body heat up more, focusing on the powerful out breath. And there's something called fire breathing in Chinese medicine and Qigong. And Shaolin monks actually have been known to use this type of breathing, meditating up in the mountains, alongside drinking some green tea to be able to withstand the cold, the intense cold that's high up in the mountains for longer durations of time. Okay, so that's the second thing, is definitely focusing on the breathing and practicing fire breathing and other tactics to be able to become more resilient and tolerant to cold weather. Okay, the biggest thing though is just exposing yourself to more cold weather over time. Even your breathing will start to adapt as well, even if you don't consciously do it. But that's a shortcut to it. So the third thing is consuming heating herbs in your diet. So the first heating herb that everyone has access to is ginger. Okay, ginger, absolutely. There's a reason why chai tea and ginger tea is used during the winter times and things like that. And wintertime blends and Christmas spice, lattes and stuff. Pumpkin spice lattes, ginger is the main ingredient. That's because ginger is an extremely heating herb. It increases circulation throughout the body. It'll also clean out your colon if that's something you're interested in. I generally will do about a whole teaspoon of ground ginger, and I will brew it into my coffee, and I'll brew that coffee super strong and blend it together in piping hot coffee. You could do black tea as well if you really want an added heating benefit. Either blend the ginger with piping hot coffee or with pu'er tea, specifically pu'er. Black tea is okay though as well. Pu'er, I believe, is a lot more heating and will definitely get you sweating. These teas, black tea and pu'er tea, will get you sweating. If you add ginger to it, it's even more potent. Obviously, cardamom and, however you say that, and then cinnamon is going to be good as well. I believe Ceylon cinnamon is probably a healthier option. However, cinnamon, cardamom, and a big heaping teaspoon of freaking ginger will definitely get that circulation going. There's some evidence it could boost testosterone. It seems to have immune boosting effects, antibiotic type effects as well. But especially for circulation and just heating your body up, it works like nothing else, improving your breathing and circulation and blood flow and all of that good stuff. So the next herb on the list that's even more effective than ginger, in my opinion, but a lot of people, it could be hard for them to access it. It's hard to find good quality stuff. If you could find a whole ground red Panax ginseng powder, okay, that works amazingly. The problem is to find legitimate Panax red ginseng powder. It's hard to find. Extracts, in my opinion, aren't really as effective, especially for the purpose of heating your body up like this. Or to know that it's legitimate, it's really hard to find it. But I will admit, Panax red ginseng, 6-year-old roots or older, brewed in with some really hot coffee or tea, amazing for increasing the heat in your body. A half a teaspoon is what I use. If I use a whole teaspoon, it's just way too heating and stimulating for me. But especially if you're older and weak, or if you have a really cold constitution, Panax red ginseng, a whole fucking teaspoon every morning. The first day, you should notice a crazy benefit. And mixing it with ginger tends to synergize with ginseng, making it more potent. Oh my God, you're going to have such a easy time getting through the winter season. And the ginseng has the added effect of helping your body to endure fatigue and stress, as well as having chemoprotective properties and helping your immune system to, I guess, bolster itself against viral infections and other pathogens as well. Lots of research on the subject that's relatively decent. lots of books on ginseng. I have quite a few here in my house. And so, yeah, good stuff. But it has to be Panax Red ginseng. It has to be high quality. It has to be the ground, regular whole root powder. Alternatively, you can try Eleuthero, which is sometimes called Siberian ginseng wrongfully. It's relatively heating as well, but Panax Red ginseng is the best in my opinion. All right. Yeah, so there's other herbs as well. So obviously getting a lot of spicy food in your diet. Cayenne red pepper, there's 40,000 heat units, which is the mildest one. And then there's 90,000 heat units, which is the one I like to use. And I think I've seen 120,000 heat units, which is even better, even spicier. But any kind of peppers that you can tolerate, just load up on the peppers. Make homemade hot sauce without vegetable oils, hopefully. Get yourself a really awesome, beautiful Mexican girlfriend who knows how to make hot sauce, and have her make you lots of hot sauce every season. Onions and garlic and peppers and all that good stuff. Amazing for the season of coldness. These are all things I utilize with amazing success, and add some black pepper to everything as well. Getting enough salt is also important. I'm just going to say that and leave that there. Next thing on the list is going to be and in Chinese medicine, just so y'all know, all of these herbs have been used for thousands of years for this purpose as well. In the season of coldness, winter season, heating herbs, heating teas, all of this stuff is utilized. Okay. Next thing on the list is going to be eat more meat, and everyone who already follows my channel already knows an animal-based diet is, in my opinion, the foundation of nutritional adequacy. More red meat specifically, for many reasons, mostly the type of fat content. It's mostly saturated, very low polyunsaturated fats due to ruminant animals' digestive system converting the grains and polyunsaturated fats into more monounsaturated fats. You get a healthier fatty acid profile in the end result, whether it's grain or grass finished, doesn't matter. High in iron, which is very important for people suffering from anemia. We're going to touch on that in a second. Just overall yang and heating, boosting energetics in Chinese medicine. I found this to be very important, combined with just some spicy beef dishes and some strong pu'er tea. Amazing with some ginseng and ginger, some chai tea, and you're just set. That's how you deal with the wintertime. Absolutely amazing, on top of adaptive thermoregulation practices like just cold exposure on a regular basis. As we mentioned in the beginning of the video, you will definitely be that crazy motherfucker like myself, walking around in short shorts while everyone else in Eskimo clothes, and people look at you like you're crazy and ask you, hey, you're wearing that in the coldness. You're like, what? It's cold? What are you talking about, crazy motherfucker? That's how you do it, okay? All right. So the next thing, if you have anemia or if you have hypothyroidism, then it doesn't really matter what kind of crazy tactics you use. You must address the anemia or hypothyroidism, because otherwise you're always going to feel cold. So anemia can cause a lack of circulation throughout the body, which can cause you to be chronically cold and cause your joints and hands and feet to be particularly affected, and also be swelling more than other things over time. And so what you want to do is, so you need to make sure that, so a lot of doctors will only judge based on iron and other tests. Sometimes your red blood cell count and other things when you're testing, when you're doing your blood panels, can be off. They can still be in the healthy range, but they're in the high end of normal or the low end of normal, and that can indicate certain issues with anemia. But basically, if you suspect you have anemia, iron is one thing, and you can get that taken care of with the iron saturation test and a ferritin level test, among other tests. Let's see. And then the other thing you can do, the other thing you need to do is make sure you have the iron on check, make sure you have enough folate, make sure you have enough B1, vitamin B12. It might be a good idea, a supplement that I like and I've used with family members and some clients is the Be Right B vitamin complex. It's methylated B vitamins by Jarrow Formulas. It generally seems to take care of all bases. On top of that, consuming calf liver on a regular basis. Do not cry, do not whine, do not pout. Santa will not give you presents for Christmas if that's the case. Eat your liver, get used to it. It's medicine. Oh well. Okay? It's not that freaking hard. If you don't like the taste of something, it's not an indication that that thing is toxic to you. It's an indication that your taste palette is adapted to some other crap. All you got to do is eat liver for a while. Eventually your taste palette will adapt, just like your body will adapt to the coldness. Quit being weak, quit crying, quit whining. Eat your liver, and that will give you all the vitamins and minerals you need to overcome anemia, on top of the B-Right vitamin complex as well. Get your blood panels checked with the doctor before and after. Check all those things, blood platelets and total blood cell count, etc., etc. Next thing, hypothyroidism. Take a iodine supplement. Avoid tap water due to the chlorine and the bromine that can interfere with the absorption, conversion, and uptake of iodine to the thyroid. Consume iodine on a regular basis. And don't skip regular artificial iodine supplements. If you're one of those people who thinks you can just eat potatoes or just take a kelp supplement, you're fooling yourself. Some people just can't digest or absorb those for whatever reason. My recommendation, I believe there's chlorine and bromide in kelp supplements actually, but I wouldn't obsess over that either. Kelp is good over the long term, but if you have hypothyroid and you're not taking a Lugol's iodine solution supplement, then you're just being dumb. Take a Lugol's iodine supplement. Don't be one of these stubborn fuckers who appeals to nature. Okay? I'm using cuss words to emphasize that this is a very common problem that people just basically prevent themselves from healing because they don't want to take an artificial supplement. Okay? Look, your life is going to be 20 times better if you reverse the hypothyroidism. Okay? Way better than pharmaceutical treatments, trust me. Being on thyroxine and these, Synthroid all your life is not fun. So, take Lugol's iodine supplement. Maybe try some selenium and tyrosine on top of it. And try that for a couple months. You don't need these complicated thyroid complexes. You don't need these bovine thyroid supplements. Just take the selenium, tyrosine, and iodine for a while. And on top of that, after a while, you can try ashwagandha, just a whole root powder. Take it before bed, and that can, even in normal people induce a hyperthyroid state past a certain point. If you have hypothyroidism, it can definitely get your thyroid levels up to par, but you should probably get off of it after a while because people take ashwagandha for too long, even if they're healthy or even if they're hypothyroid, end up having hyperthyroid if they take it too long. So that's how effective it is. All right. So yeah, overall, I think that's pretty good. Also, one more thing I'll say is experiment with eating a higher saturated fat diet because the fat you eat does create the type of fats in your cells. And so more polyunsaturated fats over time equals polyunsaturated fat in the cells. And that's really not something you want, in my opinion. I do believe if you consume a high amount of saturated fat, after a while, your body will start to accumulate it in the cells, in your fat tissues. And I believe saturated fat is more conducive in your fatty acid, in your cells, in your adipose tissue for keeping you lean, healthy, strong, and robust through the winter, preventing hypothermia. I've noticed a difference myself. Eating more saturated fat in my diet and removing polyunsaturated PUFAs and preventing me from being cold during the winter. The other added benefit is after a while of removing all PUFAs from your diet and replacing it with saturated fats, you'll also notice that you don't get sunburned anymore. So you build resilience to the effects of the sun. Okay, there's a huge impact of changing the type of fats you eat on your body's susceptibility to things like skin cancer and basically the weather and the impacts of the sun and a damaging environmental impact. It doesn't surprise me that most hunter-gatherers in hot societies as well as cold societies tribes or whatever, they ate mostly saturated fats and they minimize PUFAs because there's no source of PUFA heavy in natural kind of environment without the use of industrialization and feeding chickens and stuff grains. So, yeah. Eat more saturated fats, remove PUFAs and your fatty acids. Eventually, after about 4 years, your body will finally deplete all the PUFAs that are stored up in your body, and you'll be more resilient to hot and cold, and you won't get skin cancer or sunburned anymore. Thank you very much, y'all. Have a great day.